Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast. You are in for a treat because for the first time in like 2 months, John and I are doing a podcast together.
Hello.
How are you, my friend?
Dude, I've missed you like the desert misses the rain. I'm going to be honest. It's been so weird. Nick and I have been traveling and like flying across the country, like planes crossing in the air kind of thing for the last 6 weeks. So I've been in town a little bit. Nick's been in town. We've been recording episodes like crazy. I don't know where my head is. I don't know where my butt is. I don't know what's going on, but we're finally back in kind of a groove. The wedding season has calmed down a little for myself and for Nick. And so together again. No, we didn't break up. Yes, we still like each other. Stop DMing me about it. No, literally no one has DM'd me about it.
Like for all of you that have asked, it's none of you have asked.
For all of you, my mom. Yes. Yeah. No, how are you?
I am doing very, very good. As of recording this, it is early in the morning for us, John.
It is.
Because I'm going to just go into it. As you know, or hopefully you know, Calibrate Workshop is here this week. It's very exciting. If you don't have your tickets yet, go to calibrateworkshop.com. But to celebrate the fact that Calibrate is here, we wanted to bring on someone that I can't believe we have waited this long to have on the podcast. Lots of stuff has happened. They almost came on. They didn't come on. It doesn't matter. They are here today, and that is Andrew and Grace of Bottlebrush Films, all the way from Australia, recording 15 hours in the future whenever we record. I mean, I know that that's not really how it works, but it is kind of like that because we recorded Tuesday morning. And
Nick was so impressed by the time change. He still just, it's like, you can just tell he's like, this doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, it really
the world is round, and if you want to fight me about that, no, I'm just kidding.
I'm not.
I don't want to open up a can and get political. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, so today's episode, Andrew and Grace talking about all things, who they are, where they've been through, talk a lot about branding because they are so good at it. Anyway, John, let's go ahead and just jump into this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast.
Let's go.
The world's largest wedding filmmaking workshop is coming back. That's right, Calibrate Workshop will be here July 13th and 14th. Last year in 2021, when John and I launched this workshop, we had no clue what it would do and mean for the wedding filmmaking community, and we are so excited to bring you the 2022 edition. In case you haven't heard, we have an amazing speaker lineup. Matt Johnson, Bottlebrush Films, Penn Weddings, Blink Films, Jake Weisler, KEJ Productions, Multiply Media, and Larev Films. On top of that, we have a VIP upgrade where you can hear from Andrea Eppolito, a luxury wedding planner, and she is going to open the doors and let you know what she is looking for when building out a vendor team. Again, this workshop is July 13th and 14th, and if you would like to grab your tickets, all you need to do is head over to calibrateworkshop.com. We also have something special for our podcast listeners. Enter the promo code PODCAST20 and you can save $20 off your ticket. The heart behind Calibrate is to give you information to help you adjust what is going on in your business and make improvements and become better. Again, that's calibrateworkshop.com and use promo code PODCAST20 to get $20 off of your ticket today. All right, well, welcome Grace and Andrew from Bottlebrush Films. We are so excited to have you on the podcast finally. We're only like a quarter of a way to 1,000 episodes, and we're just now having you on. That seems ridiculous. But for people out there in the world who might not know who you are, why don't you say hello and introduce yourselves?
Hello.
We are from the future. No, not really.
Thanks for having us, guys. It's been awesome.
Yes.
That's it.
Go on. Andrew loves to do a little who we are spiel, so go for that.
So in case you can't tell by the way we speak, we're not from there. we're a couple of Aussies. We call ourselves Bottlebrush Films. I'm Andrew. I do all the filming. She's Grace.
I'm Grace. I do all the editing.
And we've been doing this for about 10 years now.
Yes.
Question mark.
It has been about a decade of wedding filmmaking. It's been good.
Yeah. We've been lucky. We've been to every state and territory of Australia. We've been to about 10 or 12 countries overseas. I don't know. It's just been crazy. It's a pretty wild thing to do for a living.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys,
I'm
John, go
pumped.
ahead.
Well, hey, internet, sorry, but I am pumped because I've been a fan of you guys for, I don't know, a while, and seeing your work evolve over time. Like, we definitely are pumped to have you on and hear about that story. You guys have always probably been just as amazing at what you do, and your branding's always probably been perfect and all that good stuff. So, no, I'm kidding. We're going to talk how you guys have gotten to where you've gotten today and stuff like that. But you said you've been doing this for 10 years. How did that start? Were you guys married already? Were you guys tell us the little bit of the origin story.
We met at film school.
Yeah.
Classic. Studying over here.
Yeah.
Andrew was a mature age student and I
was
not. So he's a cradle snatcher.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah.
Okay. Time out really quick. You said a mature age student. Does that mean grad school over here, or does that just mean he was older?
He was older.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, he was older. He was older by nearly a decade or something.
So I went to film school when I was 27. Met Grace there. I'd been a barista for a long time, and a friend of ours actually from film school was working for a Melbourne studio doing weddings, and they did about 300 weddings a year. And I said to him, "Hey, can you get me a job playing with cameras and getting paid?" He's like, "Yeah, I can." I was like, "Please do." And so that's where I don't think I'd even been to a wedding at that stage.
No, it's the same story that everyone else in our industry has. We just randomly fell into doing weddings one day because we knew someone who had gotten married and needed someone to film, and we were desperate to film something.
Nobody plans to get into this.
No.
Yeah, I think it's really funny how it just seems. I'm sure it's like this in lots of industries all over, but just because I'm in this one, it's like people are like, "Hey, I see that. Can you do that? Sure, I can do that. I'll figure it." It's like, what other industry in the world is it kind of like that? Where you're just yeah, sure, fine, I'll do that. Whatever, I'll figure it out. So about 10 years ago, a decade ago, you started filming. Now, did you? So with that story, was that you guys had kind of already knew each other and you're like, okay, yeah, let's go do this? Or Andrew, did you get started and then kind of bring Grace on, or was it the other way around, or is it kind of a happy accident?
Yes.
Yeah, that kind of it all happened.
I was too busy getting really fucked up, so there was no way I brought him into it. I didn't want a job. No, but it was one of Andrew's friends. He got into all the wedding videography and things like that first. Yeah. Then one of his friends got married and he shot it for free. And I just said to him, "What are you going to do with that footage? You can't edit." And I just took it from him. And then there you go. Made a shitty logo.
Yeah. And
on our way.
Grace kind of forced me. She's like, what are you planning to do with all this? I said, I don't know. And then Bottlebrush happened because we drew a logo and made a Facebook page.
Yeah. But that's the nice side of the industry. It's like a creative industry. Anyone can just pick up a camera and
started.
Draw a brand or whatever, draw a logo and get into it. It's good.
It's really not complicated when you think about it.
So you made this first film, Andrew shoots, Grace is like, I'm taking that and editing it. We're going to put together a little Facebook page, because 10 years ago, Facebook pages was where it was at. I mean, this is where this is where you did things. You did that first film. How was the film? Was it good? And what happened after? What happened after that film?
It wasn't terrible, actually. You cut it to Sinatra, didn't you?
No, that wasn't our first film. Our first film was Loretta and Peter.
Oh no, yeah, but the second one.
The second film actually was pretty good. It was I'm tooting my own horn, it's shocking, but I cut it to an illegal song, some Frank Sinatra track. But it was just montage. We weren't doing audio stuff until I started working at an advertising agency as a junior editor, and they asked me. One of the girls, the producers there, was like, "Oh, you should really do some speech audio in your film." And I'm like, yeah, maybe I should. And that happened.
So the first client, you'd give them their film. How does it turn into what we are today? What's that story?
Oh my God. It was never planned. We never even planned to have a business. This happened by accident, literally. I don't know. I think the common thread throughout our whole career has just been we've been doing things for fun. And just experimenting and a lot of play.
Yeah, I think it was nice when we started back. It was a decade ago. You're right. When Facebook was, pages, that's where it was at and everything. When we started back then, you weren't judging your work against anyone else's because you just simply could not. There wasn't access to social media like there is now. So you weren't. So many people now are so hard on themselves. heaps of people message us. They're like, oh, how'd you get there so quickly? I'm like, one, it wasn't quick. Two, we never gave a shit. We were just doing it because we enjoyed it every year. Like I was never like, it wasn't to be competitive or win an award or be the best. I just like, we were just doing it because we didn't, ignorance is bliss. You don't know what anyone else in the industry is doing. And it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
It's so flooded now. I think I feel bad for people now. It's hard to come in and look at like maybe a brand like ours or yours or anybody's and go, oh, fuck, how do I do that? I'm like, well, you can't. It's just practice. It's just repetition. It takes time.
Yeah. I think that's even though we might have a love-hate relationship to it, I think all of us can say that when it comes to social media, there are some good things about it.
Massively.
Maybe just a couple, but there are some good things about social media. But one of the negative downsides of it is, someone who's just starting finds a business like yours or like mine or like John's or other people that have been doing this for 8, 10, 12, 15 years. And they're like, oh, and comparing their very first wedding film to one that I just flew halfway across the country for in South Africa. And it took, 9 years of business for us to get to do a wedding like that and, learning all this stuff. And you're like, you watch it and they're like, man, I suck at this. Like that's their genuine feeling. And, a big problem that, we all have is, comparing other people's highlight reels to our behind the scenes. And, we just don't know where, how to get there or whatever. And like you're saying, it's time, it's repetition. It's, and now with, a positive thing from the social media and stuff is all the education, that has come out. And, like within our mastermind group, we have people that are in year 2 that if I would have had this type of stuff that I'm learning 10 years ago, I would have been 5 years ahead of where I was or 6 years ahead or something like that. So there's, that pull and that all of that sort of stuff, that is happening in our world. Let me transition, a little bit and say, I know for us that it probably took me 5 years in before I kind of figured out this is the type of people I want to work with. This is the type of clients I want to work. These are the types of films I want to make. How long did it take you guys to kind of find that groove before you were like, yes, this is it? Or were you just some interesting unicorn and you did it like from the very beginning?
We did not do it from the very beginning at all. What do you think? Maybe 5 or 6 years as well?
Yeah, to find our ideal client.
I
think that's like, I don't think it's a destination that you ever like genuinely arrive at. I think it evolves over time. For us, like we just kind of started attracting a certain type of couple. I
reckon around 2017 or 18, we started attracting more of our ideal client because we niched down. Like we weren't doing bulk weddings anymore. Like we had 52 one year and it was outrageous and I nearly cried and died all at the same time. It was painful. We weren't set up to do that between the two of us.
You only did 52 in a year? Only? That's it?
It was 101 in 2 years.
I don't want to hear if you guys do more than that. Like, that's so crazy. But we then, after we had that for like, it was like 2 years in a row, we're like, we don't want to do this. We're not attracting clients that we love. That would have been like year 4 or 5, maybe. It was that far in. And that was our turning point. We went, let's just decide who we want to attract and let's niche down a bit. We'll do 30 a year, then 20 a year. And now we're at 15.
Yeah.
But we rebranded in 2019.
Yep.
And that was like a conscious decision to be like, okay, now we really know who we want to attract. We know exactly what our brand is. Now is the time to just like go really hard on it and make sure there's not even a few that slip through that aren't on brand for us.
Yeah, I think in the common thread though has always been couples who are happy to be seen, warts and all, for who they are and aren't like self-conscious, or they're just happy for us to tell their story and show who they are, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, man, that's so good, and I'm glad you said that. Like this is who my couple is, and you know that, and you understand that, and I think that for better or for worse, everyone has this idea of these are the kind of people I want to work with, but you don't you don't know if you want to work with them until you get the opportunity to work with them. I remember I shared it in our mastermind earlier this year. I made this logo that for whatever reason I thought had like a high end feel. Like John knows what it looks like. It's awful. And like I thought this was it. And then I got my first opportunity to film a little bit more higher end. I mean, it wasn't like super big or anything, and I was like, oh, I don't like this. And I had just spent this money and time to like make this logo and this feel, but it definitely wasn't who we were in the direction that we wanted to go. So for people that haven't seen what your branding looks like, what the feel, the vibe of Bottlebrush Films, on their website and that kind of stuff, like how would you describe it to people? Because it's very cool.
Yes.
I'm cool by association, by the way. It's just that I'm hanging out with her.
It's all me. It is all me. Look at this coat.
I can tell.
Agree.
I can tell.
We 100% agree. Yes.
How would we describe our brand? I don't know. It's
kind of like
it's definitely us.
No, like in terms of like the website and like the logo and everything, it's very 80s inspired, and it's probably kind of like a bit film 80s kind of gig poster.
A touch of film noir in there, and a few sort of nods to what is important for me in wedding filmmaking, which is family. So we've got a few of our family photos scattered throughout the website, and photos of taken in like Grace's dad holidaying in Hawaii in 1980 or whatever it was, and my grandparents on their wedding day 80 years ago. Those sorts of photos. So it's a little bit rock and roll. It's a little bit nostalgic.
Film noir, it's basically based off everything that we're inspired by and that we love. So like I love 80s music. I just love music in general. Like I grew up like with a lot of Sex Pistols and like rock posters and things like that. Andrew's always loved film noir. He made like the most weirdest fucking film noir films when I knew him in uni, and they're so bad, but they're so good. And Andrew's like very passionate about
I personally think that film is a masterpiece, but anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a bit of a mix of everything we love, and then it's kind of all tied together.
Yeah.
I think you were saying a second ago, like you did 50-something weddings, and then you kind of had this like I've had it moment, it seems. And I've seen this a lot with people that are really, truly who they are. They've had a moment where it was just like, that's it, I've had it, I'm never doing this again. And I don't know what it is about us as like wedding filmmakers, but it seems like until you just have let yourself push yourself to the edge, to this breaking point, to the I've had it, do you wait? A lot of people, for me, I remember that, and I've talked about it several times about just like doing this horrible, terrible wedding where I felt like crap, and I was like, I'm never ever going to be treated like that again. I'm never just going to take a wedding. So you guys kind of had that I've had it moment where you shot 52 weddings and then 51 weddings or 50 weddings, whatever it was, 100 plus weddings over 2 years. And it did give you a lot of practice. It gave you a lot of time to like really realize who, you're aiming at. And I've seen kind of what the vibe and the branding was before you rebranded, and to see that compared to today. Talk to me a little bit about like the rebranding. Like you guys rebranded, you worked with somebody, but like what has that done for your confidence and just knowing who you are, because and like just being those people, being that brand, what has that done for you and allowed you like freedom wise to just say no to certain things?
I think it was like the whole purpose of the rebrand was to be to niche down, to polarize people. So people hit that website and they go, I freaking love it, and other people hit that website and go, what the heck, this sucks, these people are insane. And that's just as valuable to us, is to drive those sorts of people away as it is to attract the sorts of people that are really keen on it. I always joke that the bridezillas, we never get them because...
No, that's the shittest word. That word's out, man.
Well, the groomzillas, the bridezillas, the nightmare clients. Like we hear these stories online all the time, but I can't relate. And I always joke that we scare them off because all we want to talk about is who, when we get an inquiry, who they are. We don't talk business. We just talk crap. I tell a bunch of crap jokes. And I think the people who want to micromanage me go, this guy has no idea what he's doing. I'm running for the hills.
Yeah, we actually intentionally said to our branding designer, we want to scare off like 90% of couples. Like we really want to go hard on who we are, and we want to find people who are really like highly creative and want their story told like really authentically. I hate that word authentically. It's like the new, but I have to use it. Oh, sorry. No, that's fair. Am I?
No, you can't. You get special privilege.
Oh, I can?
You're Aussie.
Good.
Yeah, go for it.
Just cut it. Bleep me out.
Blake's just going to be busy. No.
Oh, sorry, Blake. No, but for me, when we did the rebrand was something I really wanted, and I was almost like anxious about it because I had I just felt like we had no control over what our product was. And yeah, like our social media and our website and what we were making made like our films made no sense.
It was all inconsistent.
It was all inconsistent. And I knew that if we had it branded and tied together, it would just streamline everything, like, and just, I don't know, drive away some of the people that were inquiring. And it did kind of work that way. Yeah. And that's an odd way to do a brand. It's not how you want to do a brand if you're beginning, but for us, it was because we had been doing it for so long.
Yeah. And you referenced our old website as well, John, and that got to the point where we looked at it and we went, this isn't us. Like this doesn't speak to who we are. The films we want to make, it doesn't speak to any of that.
Yeah.
And so that's why the change, I guess, was sort of just a natural evolution.
Nick and I have to tell you about one of our favorite places to upload our wedding films, and that is Love Stories TV. Love Stories TV is one of the best free resources for us wedding filmmakers. The best part is they are bringing the couples to us. All we have to do is upload our films and we are good to go. Upload unlimited wedding films to your completely free business page. Setup is easy and your films can be live in just minutes. Now is the perfect time to start uploading to Love Stories TV. So head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/lovestoriestv to check out all of the details and see how Love Stories TV is giving away $10,000 in cash to wedding filmmakers just like you. That's howtofilmweddings.com/lovestoriestv to start uploading and connecting with the right couples today.
One question that we see wedding filmmakers asking, what is the best site for licensing music? We have one answer, MusicBed. I have been exclusively using MusicBed since 2016, and our films are better because of it. I have been told during consultations that couples love our films because they feel raw, authentic, and that the music wasn't cheesy. MusicBed has a roster of incredibly talented musicians, bands, and composers who pour their hearts into their work, and you can hear the difference. Find the perfect song with MusicBed's intuitive search features like genre, mood, beats per minute, and key, which is probably my favorite of the search parameters. Head over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed to do what I did and take your wedding films to the next level. Use promo code HTFW22 at checkout to receive 1 month free with the purchase of any annual subscription. That's howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed.
Mm-hmm. And I've seen, you go to your website and it's like, whoa, okay. Like I know who these people are and who they're aiming for. If someone's out there, maybe they're in their first 5 years of business, what advice maybe would you have for them when it comes to when they should think about like really leaning into who they are, or leaning into their brand, or rebranding, or just working with what should they be thinking about when it comes to identifying even who they would want to serve?
I mean, straight up, I would say don't take inspiration from the wedding industry for starters. We deal in a lot of cliches a lot of the time, and there's so many other industries that do branding better than what we do as an industry.
Yeah, like when we did our rebrand, that we didn't look at any wedding work at all. Like we weren't even tempted to. Like it's just not about that. It's about what inspires you. Like it's a very personal industry. Like people are hiring you to have you there on the day. So your branding is about projecting, like people want to hire you. You want them to like you, to see themselves in you. So like basically you want to like use the things that you're inspired by to kind of drive your brand if you can, which is what we did. And that's why I think it works well, because we're not faking it. Like this is who we are. This is a brand that is us. It isn't a projection of who we wish we were. It's just what who we are.
I think the absolute key is not shying away from who you are and being super confident. I think good branding is confident branding, and it's not trying to be something you're not, and it's just owning whatever weirdnesses or intricacies or nuance make you.
Yeah, you say it so much better. I'm like, be you. I will say to beginners though, like I don't think you need to go hard on your branding as your ultimate, like it's not your priority. Like yes, it's something to think about, but like there is no point having a phenomenal brand with a product or a film that just doesn't back it up. So I think it's way more important to work on your craft first. Like make sure, I think once you feel really happy with the films you're producing and you feel like they're you and that they're what you want to put out into the world, that's the time when you want to brand or rebrand.
Yeah. And it's an evolution. It's not a final destination.
Oh man, you guys are dropping some like really, really good little nuggets in there, you know, about being the journey and not the destination, and you know,
Yoda.
Do we sound that cheesy?
It's not who you want to be; it's just who you are, man. All of that is such really good stuff. I know that one thing that John has shared a lot, you know, was like whenever he was doing he was like, I didn't want anyone not to like me, and I wanted to just work with whoever.
Yeah.
And so, you know, just very vanilla. And I was like, if I yelled and I, you know, shoot my shotgun shot, you know, all over, then, you know, like I'm going to get clients. And I think that there are wedding brands that definitely can work for, and there are, you know, companies that definitely works for. But whenever you make that shift and you decide, okay, these are the type of people I want to work with, it gives you, you know, like you're saying, a confidence when you like know who it is. And, you know, it takes a while to find that out. And, you know, like you were saying, you know, we shot 100 weddings pulling that back, but you almost had to do that to figure out where to go. And you're like, I don't wish that on anyone, that anyone has to go through that. But there are those things, you know, it's like my kid, you know, I say, hey, don't do that. You know, don't climb on the back of the couch. Don't do that. And so they do. And then, you know, he falls off. And I was like, I told you not, but he had to experience, you know, doing that first before, you know, really going through that. So that's
are we basically kids in this scenario? Are we
I think so. I think you're his kid. Yeah.
Thanks, Daddy.
I've got the beard.
She said thanks, Daddy, to you.
Oh gosh. Oh man. I don't.
Sorry, I had to be done.
I think we just broke Nick.
I think
Nick
you did.
Nick is broken.
You know, earlier when we started this, Grace said hello from the future, and she was kind of kidding, but kind of not, because we're recording this.
Yeah, true.
Us in the United States, it's 7:30 in the morning when we started, and you guys are like 10:30 at night where you are the next day or the same day. I don't know. Australia's weird with time.
It's still the same day.
It is still the same day. I've digressed. I've derailed.
But if you're listening to this and you're like, John and Nick seem a little bit weird today, it's because we're not usually awake at this time.
No. Yeah, we got you off early. Sorry.
No, I love it, and
I wouldn't do this for anyone else but you guys.
Yeah, for real.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's the truth. No, I think it's super, like what Nick said just then is really interesting, because I do think that getting through certain number of weddings really, like a lot of people hear, we've been hearing it a lot in our mentor sessions, especially people feeling like they're not doing enough fast enough. They feel this pressure with all this education now to be moving faster and posting every day on TikTok and Instagram and rebranding and making their website perfect and finding their ideal client, all this stuff. And I think it can be a little bit overwhelming. I know it can be overwhelming with all of the information out there, and all the things and all the people and all the awards and all the pressure. What advice would maybe you have about like a mental health check during this? How fast should we be trying to push towards finding this brand? Did you see that, if you would have tried to rebrand, you know, before doing 100 or so weddings, it wouldn't have been worth it? Or so kind of, if someone's out there listening, feeling like this pressure, like, well, shoot, I need to do all this stuff right now. What advice would you have for them?
Before Grace answers that, I just want to say, like, at the end of the day, if your clients are happy and you're making a good living, that's all that matters. Like, honestly,
I agree.
The whole, like we spoke about earlier, there is some great things about social media and there's some terrible things about social media. And you have to be really self-disciplined to not let that affect your mental health. And I'll put my hand up straight away and say, like, my mental health is never always been great. Like, I've had my struggles with that sort of stuff, with burnout and with so many different things. And it's put pressure on not only the business, but our relationship as well. And, like, you know, it's not always easy. Like, just because...
No, it's not. It's hard. It's hard sometimes.
It really is.
Yeah. I think it's so accurate what you guys are saying. Like, it's like, it's hard to watch. Like, you can see people heading towards the burnout that you've gone through, and you know it's going to hit them like a brick wall, but you can't explain it to someone. You kind of need to experience it yourself. And we've had people over the years who, I've seen going through the same burnout that I've already been through. And I've tried to kind of be like, guys, you know, this, you know, you need to cut back on your numbers. They're doing too many. It's gonna become really hard, but they'll do it anyway, because you kind of got to discover it a bit for yourself. And
sometimes you just got to fall off the back of the couch.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. Like the 100 that we did over the 2 years was just wild. And it was bad for our mental health. Like, and it definitely, I'm glad we hadn't done any branding before that, because we would have come out the other side feeling completely different. So I think what you said, it's always about, you know, social media. There's so many good sides to it, but we get so caught up in it and think it's the be all and end all. It's not. It's about if your couples are happy. Are you happy with the work you're putting out? And if those two things are yes, then everything else is cherry on top.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a really important conversation. And as Nick and I talk to more and more people just about, like, man, I feel like I don't have enough time to get this stuff done, and everybody's telling me I need to do these things. And, you know, like you think about it, for me, I rebranded after my 15th year, or in my 15th year of doing weddings, and like kept feeling this pressure. And I do think that, you know, the journey side of it and realizing you're not where you're heading yet, but like you are enjoying where you're at in that moment. And to me, it really was 100 weddings in before I really knew who I wanted to, you know, be aiming at and serving. And some people can find that earlier. And I'm not saying that that's the magic number or whatever. But then once you start identifying those things, you start saying, ooh, I like working with couples that are willing to take off all their clothes and run around in their whitey tighties. That's who I want to serve. There's some freedom to that. There's freedom in, like, being okay. And how Nick was saying, I used to just be this, anyone that wants to give me money and wants to pay me, I'm happy with that. Just please, nobody hate my films. I have to make it appealing to everybody, and was scared to death to, like, really lean into me and say, ooh, I like these things. Maybe you don't, so you're not going to hire me because you don't like those things. I'm a people pleaser. Never mind, I'll change what I'm doing. I want you to like me. I want you to hire me. And the more that I've said yes to things I knew I should have said no to, the more pain that caused me. And so similar to, you know, Nick's son jumping off the couch, or, you know, my daughter wanting to, you know, jump in the pool with no puddle jumper on or whatever. It's just like, you have to have this balance of, like, this crazy trying new things and being willing to feel that pain, as well as listening to the advice from others. I want to talk about, like, today for you all. Like, you guys are highly regarded as some of the best wedding filmmakers on the planet. You win awards, you're speaking at different conferences, you're doing different things. What does that feel like? Does that feel like you're successful? Do you feel like imposter? Do you feel, I would love to hear your honest feedback so people can be like, oh, they're real people too, just because they're making films that I just could never even imagine. What does all this feel like? In the last few years, you guys have gone from, like, you know, you're kind of doing, like, some killer work to being, like, tagged in every bit of everybody's favorite wedding filmmaker lists and things like that. What has that done to you guys?
Does it feel like we're successful? In a word, probably not.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
I love it. No, I don't know.
I mean, like, for us, like, we probably still haven't ever nailed the work-life balance thing.
Yeah, I feel like I have. I have. I'm really good at work life. I take like 3 days off in a row now because I'm like, I'm over it. me 5 years ago, I would have had a panic attack and been like, I cannot not do this film right now. Like, it's the most important thing. It is life or death. Now I'm like, it's a wedding. Like, I respect it, but also it doesn't have to rule my life. No, I don't know. It's nice. We kind of made an intentional choice to kind of put ourselves out there more with educational stuff and do more talks and say yes to podcasts. I'd always been a bit not into that stuff because I think I had a bit of imposter syndrome. I was a bit like, who am I to talk on anything like this? And I think we all know what that feels like. Yeah. But then one day I was like, we need to give it a go. And then we did, and I enjoy it now.
And I think like for us, a lot of it came from a lot of the choices, like getting into education as well, came from all the mistakes that we've made. And waking up and going, I don't want anyone else to have to go through that stuff. Like, we can teach people the right things to do, but we can sure as hell teach them the things not to do as well.
Yeah. I feel like all like where we are now, like I tip my little hat and be like, I feel like we've made it to where I would want to have got to at this point. Like, I could tap out now and be totally happy with where we ended up and be like, yeah, sweet. I feel like I've achieved all the things I wanted to achieve. Yeah. And that's awesome.
Yeah. I feel like that's a pretty common theme for everybody in the wedding industry, no matter what stage of your career you're at, is always to be thinking about what you don't yet have and where you want to be going and where you want to end up. But like, if you'd told me, 10 years ago that we would be charging what we're charging, that we'd have gone to all these amazing countries all around the world to go to these amazing parties with these amazing people and getting paid to do that, and to be asked to like speak by a couple of American guys on a podcast about wedding filmmaking. Like, that's crazy when you think about it. That's just insane. Like,
it's cool.
I couldn't have imagined that.
Enjoy the pleasure.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It's good to celebrate the wins, I think. It's easy to lose perspective and get caught up in the hustle culture.
But I love hustle.
That's sarcasm.
No, it actually isn't. I love it. It's like, why do you think I live on social media?
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know if we gave you a straight answer.
I don't know. We botched that. So.
No, you guys did great. I think one thing that as I sit here and, I've gone through a slew of weddings that I've just kind of been like, whew, where just things have gone wrong and they haven't gone, how we want it to go. And, it's, I'm like, man, I'm charging a lot of money and I'm still having, some that just haven't, gone well or gone right or whatever. And I think that from like this side of things, whenever you've quote unquote made it, whatever, other people are going to say, now we're on a pedestal, I host this podcast. So, Nick has it all figured out, or, you guys, have won all these awards from all these different things. So you guys totally have it figured out or whatever. But, other people like need to know when you hear us say these things, like there are still things that we are struggling with in our business, and maybe they're different than what you are struggling with in year 2 or 3 or 4. But the common theme is like, you never like make it and have it all figured out. Like you have systems in place, or you kind of understand maybe where to go, but it's just different problems, different things that are going on. And one thing that, as John and I talk about this, is I know people look to us, but we also want to know that we don't have all the answers. And we've never tried to be people that are like, this is exactly what you need to do at all times, and act like we have it all together. And I think that that's, refreshing for you, Andrew, like, are we successful? And you're like, no. I mean, just that honest answer of, yeah, we've done some great stuff, but there's some stuff that, we haven't done as well. So, yeah, you talked around it a lot, but I appreciate it. I appreciate what you said. And a couple of things that I want to segue into. You talked about how you've also gotten into the education space, and a really cool thing, if people don't know this for some reason, we are hosting the world's largest wedding filmmaking workshop that's actually launching in just a couple of days as we launch this episode. And Andrew and Grace are presenters, are speakers at Calibrate workshop. And so why don't we spend a couple of minutes before we hop off of here for you to just talk about what it is that you're going to be doing at Calibrate and how you can help everyone tuning in.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Thank you for having us speak.
Yeah, it's a massive honor. Thank you guys.
Yeah, it is. We did like a massive happy dance when we got asked, when you guys asked us. Yeah, so we're going to be talking on branding, go figure. And basically we want to do a bit of a breakdown on a few brands in our industry. And if you hadn't noticed, Andrew and I'm very practical. And Andrew's like very harsh. Which is nice, but I'm like, when I do, like, if I do any talks ever, I always just want it to be super practical. Like I don't want people to hear all this fluff about like who we are and la la la, and
we really want some tangible takeaways for people so that they can actually implement things in their business. And
I just want to like give everyone a bit of a practical rundown on like if you're feeling kind of stuck with your brand or you don't know where you're going with it, this will be basically a talk on like where you can start and where you can get inspiration from and how to build a brand, basically.
Very non-generic.
Well, now it better not be. So.
Yeah, we've spoken on this topic before, but we just want to like make it really practical, give people some key takeaways that they can go and action straight away, and hopefully, kill off the overwhelm and get a good idea of your own brand identity and where that takes you moving forward.
Yeah, that's great, and it's so helpful. And I know it seems to be, I don't know, maybe it was, kind of COVID stuff or whatever, but it seems just in the last couple of years, like so many people are just focused on rebrand, redesign, updates, figuring all of that stuff out. And so really excited to have you guys on it, because like we said, when it comes to having a brand and knowing who you are, but also, the people that you want to speak to, you guys do an incredible job with that. And so while Andrew and Grace's brand might not appeal to you specifically as a listener, they still know what they are doing. But that's also doing what it's supposed to do. Like you were saying, you want to put yourself out there and reject and appeal to the people that you want to work with. So we are so excited to have you guys at Calibrate this year. It's going to be incredible. We are pumped to have you guys. Where, if people, want to check out your killer website or want to watch some of your films, where can people find you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, really? You don't want to have to say it all. You can our website's just bottlebrushfilms.com.au, Aussie.
Yep.
And we're on Instagram, Bottlebrush Films. We're on TikTok, and I apologize in advance for what that is.
So last year we lived in the most locked down city in the world.
It was 6 months, like the year before.
Yeah. So Melbourne, for those that don't know, was under lockdown for about 6 months in 2020.
Yes.
And we spent the entire time making TikToks. So you're welcome / sorry.
I had nothing else.
So that'll be a journey for a few people that stumble upon that. And people still hired us after watching TikToks of us. So, go figure.
Because I'm so cute.
Yeah, it's definitely not Andrew. That's cute.
He's got a great beard. A great beard.
Just kidding. No. And it's been so fun to watch you guys over the last few years, and the first DM I ever got from Andrew, and just going straight, just from watching you guys, just going, from figuring out who you are, doing this rebrand, people seeing like all of this amazing. All this amazing work, and watching you push the industry forward. I can't tell you how excited I am for your talk at Calibrate Workshop. Nick, did you say there was some type of a promo or something like that?
Oh, yeah. If you buy your ticket today for our podcast listeners at Calibrate Workshop.
Don't tell anybody. It's only for podcast listeners. Yeah.
Don't type in the promo code podcast20 to save $20. Don't you dare try and do that off your ticket. Don't do that.
We're great at this thing, podcasting.
That was so subtle.
Can you guys teach me sales? This is amazing.
Yeah, actually, I would love a sales class from you guys.
Of course. We'll do it right after this.
Anyways, guys, we thank you so much for staying up late. Maybe it's not really late for you guys. I don't know. I assume that you're up like all hours of the night or whatever. But thank you so much for working with the crazy time change or time difference and figuring this out and coming on the podcast today.
Thanks so much for having us, guys. It's been a pleasure.
You guys are legends. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to me mostly ramble. I can't help it. I have issues.
You guys did great. You did great.
It's been awesome. Thanks, guys.
Andrew, Grace, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. If you liked what they had to say here today in today's episode, head over to calibrateworkshop.com. That's calibrateworkshop.com, and you can pick up your tickets for Calibrate. That happens in just 2 days as of dropping this episode. That is July 13th and 14th. Remember that special promo code podcast20. That's podcast20. You can save $20 off of your ticket. John, this has been a great episode. It has been incredible to hang out with you. I am so excited about Calibrate Workshop. Anything you want to add? Anything you want to say before we hop off?
It's so good to have got to hang out with you and our Aussie friends. That's all I have to say.
That is it. Remember, calibrateworkshop.com. Thanks so much for listening, and until next time, we will see ya.
See ya. Are you looking for a better way to deliver your wedding films to your couples? Look no further. Our friends over at Wedflow provide the most flexible video delivery solution on the market. Wedflow is pay per project with no large upfront cost or commitment, and you can cancel anytime. Not only that, Wedflow offers a premium viewing experience for your couples, accessible on mobile, tablet, desktop, as well as their very own suite of TV apps. Each project comes with 10 years hosting and an experience for your clients that will blow them away. Stop delivering your films the old-fashioned way and give your couples something to rave about. Head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/Wedflow to check out Wedflow today.